Hi everybody, I'm Holly Barker,
And I'm Aisha Adama.
and today is Tuesday.
Show and Tell Tuesday.
Show and Tell Tuesday.
What have you got?
Alright, so today I brought a book, and it is called How to Think More About Sex. Bum bum bum.
Something we all need.
Yes. It's by Alain de Botton, who is the founder of the School of Life. And I really love this dude. You can find him on TED Talks. He has a couple of TED Talks that are really just engaging and funny, and they make you think about things in a different light.
So wait, does he think people are not thinking about sex enough?
No, I think that people, in the back it says, we don't think too much about sex. We're merely thinking about it in the wrong way. So this book is not necessarily about, it's just, it takes sex and how you think about sex, and then sort of says, oh, but you could think about it this way, and you can think about it that way, and that way, and that way. And he illustrates a lot of it with stories.
So it's not quantity, it's quality of thinking about sex.
Well, yes. Like he talks about, there are three sections: the introduction, the pleasures of sex, and the problems of sex. So he talks about eroticism and loneliness. Can sexiness be profound? The difference between Natalie Portman and Scarlett Johansson. That's really a chapter.
Is that really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Natalie or Scarlett?
See, I don't really
Question
think
mark.
of those two as polar opposite. Like, I would think maybe, I don't know, the
I don't-
sexiness of Angelina versus the sexiness of some sheep-like young thing.
Yes. So I just think it's really wonderful to think about sex in a new way. Think about why we're drawn to another person physically versus and emotionally. He illustrates he has this story that illustrates a couple of points of these two people. The man is drawn to her because she wears flat shoes instead of sexy stilettos, because somewhere in his past when he was younger, his mom wore sexy stilettos, and he just hated it. So now he's really only attracted to women who are, they wear pumps and very conservative clothing, and she's drawn to him because he's very quiet, not like her dad or like her cousin or like someone else in her life when she was younger and growing up, and how that affects what you're attracted to.
A friend of mine had this, he discovered that he was really into teeth. And he realized that so many of his previous girlfriends had parents who were orthodontists or dentists or they all had good teeth.
Yeah.
But
so why was there anything that he talked about in his past of why
he hadn't quite figured it out yet, what the thing was in the trigger at a young age.
Yeah.
But there must have been something with teeth.
Yeah, some people are into butts or boobs or what they find attractive on another human being, and he talks about that too, about you're not necessarily attracted, you're attracted to how healthy they are, and he talks about fashion, about you're attracted to a person looking sexy, you look sexy, but I'm also attracted to you because of the way that you appear in the world, or this is your world.
I love that you're attracted to me for any reason.
Hey. We just had a dance party, a hot second dance party.
But as you were saying,
Yes.
Where were we?
So no, I just think and this guy is so funny, really humorous. He has a lot of strange pictures. This one is
Asparagus. And we
by-
know what that can lead to.
by Manet. And he says in the caption, there are lessons for long-term relationships in the way that Manet approached asparagus. And I'll just read a really short paragraph. To rescue a long-term relationship from complacency and boredom, which, that happens.
It does happen.
We might learn to effect on our spouse much the same imaginative transformation that Manet performed on his vegetables. I love this shit. It's so funny. It's humorous and informative.
I like to perform on vegetables, zucchini,
They're really great things to practice on. Bananas, whatever. So we should try to locate the good and the beautiful beneath the layers of habit and routine. We may so often see our partner pushing a buggy, arguing with a toddler, crossly berating the electricity company, and returning home defeated from the workplace that we have forgotten that dimension in him or her that remains adventurous, impetuous, cheeky, intelligent, and above all else, alive. So I just,
That's lovely.
it's really lovely.
Yeah.
Like everything in this book is either funny or lovely or touching, and it talks about sex. And it's not raunchy, and it's not, but it's okay if it's raunchy. And he talks about that too. He talks about how like we're so ashamed of our bodies, and we're taught to be ashamed. And like when we meet someone or we are having sex with them, we can sort of have this this relationship where we're not ashamed and that it's comfortable, and that's part of what loneliness is, of like wanting to be with someone else so that we're not shameful or we're not having those feelings that society presses on us.
Right.
And I just think it's a very liberating book.
Yeah.
And so I totally encourage you to check out How to Think More About Sex by Alain de Botton, who's French. And also check out his TED Talks. He has this really great TED Talk about atheism 2.0. And so talking about atheism in a whole new way.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, so thanks.
Awesome.
So think more about sex and have more sex. And
I think we can do that.
yeah,
I think we can manage that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Next.
All right. It's not about, sex or anything that interesting. It's just about my obsession with purses, namely purses that have like a patchwork thing going on, like they did in the 1980s. Apparently, some people have a teeth thing, some people have a shoe thing or a boob thing. I have a purse thing.
I like boots.
I have a snakeskin thing. It
kind of looks like a little
I have an 80s thing.
whale, like this whole underwater feel to it.
So this is one of my favorite 1980s purse designers, Carlo Fiore, Italian.
Carlo Fiore.
Yeah. And all his stuff, it has like certain motifs in it, like, the patchwork obviously also has these little tiny studs a lot of the time, and a lot of the time these embroidered little wiggles. And I love it.
Who doesn't love a wiggle?
Little wiggle.
Just a little wiggle.
Yeah. Just a little bit.
I love how you're really excited about the 80s. Like, stuff that, like, it maybe something when you were a kid in the 80s, like, that's why you're so in love with it.
I'm sure there's a reason. Also, they had really good style, and the stuff was really cool, and,
Oh, it has, like, does this work, or is it just a decorative
No, it's
thing?
just decorative. You could probably, loosen it, but yeah, it's really just designed that way to have this little gather here and these little draws.
The thing I like about older vintage items is that, even in the 80s, things were made better. They even if they were made in China, they were just made better, because inside of it, it's...
Well, this was made in Italy, but...
Okay, well, it's Italian. But even it's like, it's velvety. Sorry, I'm all up in your bag.
Most of his bags have that same kind of velvet inside.
Yeah, and it's like this deep blue velvet, so you just kind of want to reach in here and get it all.
Stuff. Pickpocket, whatever. Thinking more about sex.
You can think a lot more about sex with that bag.
Yeah. I find that there is, a kind of relationship between purses and sex. Definitely for women.
Do you think so?
Well, I don't know. It explains a lot of things about the success of Louis Vuitton bags as gifts. Okay.
But is that like a... But the success of the bag as a gift of like, oh my God, thank you so much for my horribly expensive thing that I'm now feel obligated to like...
You like to touch it.
The bag?
The bag? Yeah.
Okay, I do have to say that I own a Prada, and I really love it.
You like to touch it, don't you? You do.
I do.
Just admit it. There we go.
Yeah.
And on that note, it's been a wonderful Show and Tell Tuesday, and we will see you next week.
Thank you for joining us.
We'll show things, tell things, touch things perhaps. It will be good.
Bye.
Bye. Don't forget to think about sex.
Yeah, think more about sex.